Joining me on the line, he is the Vice President of Programming for Cumulus Media, one of my many, many bosses. And from what I understand, a huge fan of the Rolling Stones. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Frey is on the line. And Greg, tough week for the Stones and their fans.
Yeah. Thanks, B-sox. Thanks for having me on. I was leaving an appointment yesterday, and just as I was pulling out of the parking lot, a text came on my phone from a neighbor of mine. And they know I'm a big Stones fan. All I said was something like, "I'm so sorry to hear about the Rolling Stones news." And now I'm driving. I have no idea what's going on. So I was about 5 minutes away from the house, so I got home and got the phone out and right away saw what was happening and knew I had to get the information out to you and the rest of our classic rock stations about what was happening, and just a gut punch, and just a sad day for rock fans.
Well, that was the thing. I was talking to a buddy of mine that he found out that and I had no idea that he was just a giant Stones fan. And he goes, "Here I am sitting here crying, listening to the radio about a man I've never met." I mean, that was the influence that they had on people and still do to this day, really, if you think about it. But Greg, tell me this, as we kind of get into it, what was it about Charlie that made him so special to the Stones and their music?
But Charlie was the type of drummer, he never overplayed. He played what the song required. And if you listen to some of the bigger Stones songs like Honky Tonk Women or Wild Horses, things like that, you'll hear, Gimme Shelter is another good example. You'll hear him push the song forward just the right amount, but never overplay. It was very understated. Sometimes you'd hear him crack a really nice quick fill, but he only did that to emphasize something Keith had just played or something Mick had just sang. And so it's really interesting how the songs, the drum parts were part of the song. And you can't hear the song. If you take another drummer, the song becomes something different. So I think that's why people, respected him so much, and also why he didn't really get the credit, because he didn't show off.
That's something that a lot of people that aren't into music or bands, or even because he was a jazz guy, that know how important that is to not just take over a song, to be the part of the song that you're supposed to be and fill where you need to fill. I think people don't realize how big of a deal that is in music.
Absolutely. Charlie had a jazz background. That was the music he liked and what he really liked to play, but he loved playing in the Rolling Stones. So what he brought to the table was that perspective of being part of a group, because jazz is all about playing off of other people. And that's what he brought to the table in the Rolling Stones.
Greg Frey on the line with me right now, talking about Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones. What are you going to remember most about Charlie? Like, is there, a story or, how he played a certain song, or even just a cool fill? Because I've thought about that with certain guitar players. I'll think, there's one stupid little guitar fill that I love, and I'll always remember him for that. What's your moment with Charlie Watts that you'll remember the most?
Well, I just think what Charlie did, you think about the Rolling Stones, like it's the ultimate rock band. They've been, the quintessential party band for decades. But Charlie, there's Mick and there's Keith and they're crazy, and then Charlie is just this well-dressed guy with a straight face playing the drums in the background and keeping everything together. I think they needed him so much, and I don't think they could have lasted as long as they did without that steady presence. So when I think of him, that's what I think of. But as far as his playing, the other thing about the Stones, and I think this is a testament to everybody in the band, but the drummer primarily, they could do a rock song like Jumpin' Jack Flash or Start Me Up, or they could do a blues song, or they could do a disco song like Miss You, or they could do a country song like Dead Flowers, and it always sounds like the Stones, and it always sounds great. So I think his versatility and just the impeccable timing and the sharp snare drum is what I'm going to remember.
You said it, that, the well-dressed guy just playing drums. I don't know why I thought of it, but he's the band director that's hanging out with the kids playing.
Exactly. And there's that famous story of Mick and Keith somewhere in Europe, I think. They're in the hotel after the show, and they've had some drinks, and they're carrying on. And Mick, the hotel phone in the room, and calls down to Charlie's room. It's 3, 4 in the morning. Charlie's dead asleep because that's not his scene. He goes to bed.
Yeah.
So Mick's on the phone, and he's screaming at Charlie, saying, "Hey, get up here. I need my drummer up here. I need my drummer up here. You need to get up here." And Charlie didn't say a word. He just hung up the phone. The story's in Keith Richards' autobiography book, Life. Next thing they know, there's a knock at the door. Keith Richards opens the door, and it's Charlie Watts. And he got up, showered, shaved, put on his finest suit, wearing cologne. He walks in the door, and he punches Mick in the face. And Mick flies over the catering cart and almost falls out the window. And Charlie says, "Don't ever call me your drummer. You're my singer." And he walks out. So that was the one time that Charlie got pushed over the line.
Oh, that's the best part about it is that he shower shaved, did the whole 9 yards to go do this. That's the best
cologne.
part.
Even when he loses his cool, he's still the coolest.
Greg, as we wrap up, I got 2 more questions for you, and they're big ones. First, you've seen the Stones a lot. What's the best concert of the Rolling Stones you ever saw?
It's
a tough one, I know.
I know. I've been thinking about this, though, and I got to say, I saw them in 2015, which wasn't too long ago, here in Atlanta. It just seemed, Mick is a great frontman, but he's been doing it a long time, and sometimes it's almost like he's on autopilot. This show, it seemed like the band is starting to figure out they're doing something that no other band has ever done. They're taking it further than any band has ever taken it. And I think they're starting to appreciate it. And it was really nice to see. And the whole band was very, very warm. They played a couple of songs that were surprises. They have a tour scheduled. I have tickets for this next leg of the tour. I'm hoping they keep the dates, because I think it'd be a nice tribute to Charlie to see the Stones one more time.
All right, final question for you. If you were going to remember Charlie Watts and explain his greatness by telling people to listen to one song, which one would it be?
I'd have to say Wild Horses. You listen to what he plays in between what Mick and Keith are doing. He lays back, then he comes in. You hear him show up, makes himself, known within the song, and then he holds back, and then he comes in again. The way he navigates his way through that song is perfect Charlie Watts.
Perfect. Greg Frey, thank you so much.
Thanks, B-sox.